welcome to the Third and Long podcast. It's, as you can see by the title, it's Wildcard Week, or as I believe they call it now, Super Wildcard Week. And it's an OG podcast with just me and Ollie by the looks of it. So,
Yeah,
Ollie, how are you?
I'm very good. The kids have got work, so it's just us two. I'm good, mate. It's been an interesting week. It's been a hard week as well. I keep seeing things that are getting my hopes up, and I don't want to. I don't want to get my hopes up yet. It's not fun.
So Shane might not be here, but he is watching. Hi, Shane. We miss
Hi,
you.
Shane. I'm sure you should be working, mate.
And actually, you might
Ah,
have got your wish, Ollie, because I've seen some rumours that Matt Patricia has been fired.
I've seen as well, but it's nothing from. It's no legit sources. This is why I'm like, can we wait until it's actually legit first until I start like popping the champagne?
Anyway, before we go into the coaching carousel, the quarterback carousel started early this year, hasn't it?
It has started very early. Yeah, Derek Carr said goodbye. He dropped a tweet out earlier on, and we shared it earlier on on our Twitter account at the Third and Long Podcast UK Pod. It's quite emotional. It's been 9 years of a roller coaster up and down. Didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve. Raider Nation's always in his heart. The usual spiel that's on there, but yeah. And the Athletic are saying he's going to be traded. He's going to be cut if he's not traded by the 15th. Got me thinking. You see this quarterback, you're going, he's a starter. He's a genuine starter in this league. Why would you trade for him if you know he's going to get cut in like a month's time?
Ensure you get him.
There is that as well. But I would take the risk and go, I'm going to wait a couple of weeks. I'm going to wait a week. Look at. He's not going to go to Chicago. They've got their quarterback. He's not obviously going to Las Vegas. He could go. I reckon he'll end up in Tampa.
I was going to say, gut reaction, where do you think he'll be?
Oh, Tampa.
I think Tampa's probably one of the most attractive places for quarterbacks because they have weapons.
They got weapons. You've got. Probably one of the best wide receivers in the league, the most consistent wide receiver in the league, 1,000-yard season for the last 9 years in Mike Evans. You got good tight ends, you got good running backs there. You got probably one of the best O lines in the league there. It's crazy how good that is. That actual team could be. I think Tampa, with the injuries they've had, has cost them this year. Especially on the O line.
Yeah. I think the other attractive place for of a quarterbackless team is probably Indianapolis.
Young, yeah, young.
Young, stud wide receiver, stud running back.
Yep, very much so. Lots of cap room, lots of picks as well in that team. I think they're one of the highest picks in the league this year through the trade. So yeah, it could be interesting. It will be weird seeing Derek Carr not in the
gold
silver and black.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's going to be strange next year. But like those people who got used to not seeing Brady in the blue of Patriots. It happened. Quarterbacks move on. It's just a sad thing about it.
Yes.
Hey ho. John, if you're on, give us a holler because I want to know what you think, mate.
Do you think Brady will end up in the silver and black?
Yep.
You do?
I reckon they'll probably pass each other in the airport going, give us some clues.
Hmm.
If you think about it, Brady likes weapons. He's got one of the best wide receivers in the league in Devontae Adams. They will re-sign Josh Jacobs, not a problem. They've got one of the best tight ends in the league in Darren Waller. They've got Hunter Renfrow, who is a Julian Edelman-style wide receiver.
Yeah.
They've got a good defense. He knows McDaniels. He'll click into that McDaniels offense like that.
You don't think he's going to retire?
I don't think he'll want to retire on a defeat.
Okay.
Personally.
So you think he's just going to keep playing until he wins another Super Bowl?
He's going to keep playing until he can't play anymore.
Do you think?
He'll keep playing until he can't play anymore. And, he hasn't got a wife telling him what to do anymore. He's can do what he wants pretty much. Yeah, Brady will play for another couple of years at least, even if it's one and done for at Las Vegas. But hey,
I saw an interesting stat about Brady's day. Actually, he's 7-0 against the Cowboys.
he is. I saw a video when Mike Evans goes to him. You 6-0 against the against Cowboys. And it's obviously before they played last season. He goes, "Yeah, I only know because I looked at it when I was doing the thing." So he does a lot of his own research. Derek Carr though is we always knew that his best season was the season he got injured.
Yes.
He is a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's been a 2-time MWC Offensive Player of the Year, 2-time First Team All Pro.
2-time First Team All Pro.
2-time First Team. Yep.
Derek Carr.
Yep.
When?
2012 and 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, that's something to do with that area. He's had just over 35,000 yards, 20 passing yards, 217 touchdowns, 99 interceptions, pass rating of 91.8. So it is good yardage at the end of the day.
Yeah, but apparently he was incredible in 2012 and 2013. Not that I can say I remember that.
I don't remember them being that good in 18. I remember them being the best is the season he got injured, which was 2016, where he took them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he got injured in the last game when they didn't.
And then they were one and done.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we move on to Black Monday?
Always end up being Black Week because every day someone has been sacked this week. It started Sunday night, so it started even early with Lovie Smith going.
Yeah.
Which we mentioned.
I think Lovie Smith knew he was going. Apparently, he said something along the lines of, "That was the biggest Bears win of my career."
Yeah, he did pretty much give that to the Bears, didn't he? Yeah, take the number one. The Browns DC, Joe Woods has been gone. Has gone as well. The Browns, it wasn't just the defense; it was offense. It's special teams. They were a mess all over the place this year. They managed to get 6 wins this year.
The Browns defense didn't look a mess once Deshaun Watson got up to speed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, Browns next year could be a different proposition completely. I'm not surprised that the defense gone. They have struggled the last couple of years on that team.
Yeah. What's your view on them wanting to speak to Jared Mayo?
Yes, he deserves it. A lot of Patriots fans said he deserves to be OC or DC. Or even DC or even H coach. They've wanted him to call the plays on defensive side of the ball. So I'm not surprised. He is good. He is liked, and he's all there. And they've also wanted to request to Brian Flores as well.
Yeah. Did I read that Jared Mayo is also being interviewed for the head coach of the Panthers?
He is, yes. That was announced within the last hour or so.
Yeah, within the last hour or so, it was also announced that D'Amico Ryans will be interviewing for the Panthers job.
So it's obviously they've let that out now and they've gone from there and all that. So I'm not surprised. D'Amico Ryans is done well. I'm
really surprised D'Amico Ryans refused to speak to the Texans, having played for Houston.
That's a bit strange.
Apparently he got offered an interview with Texans and turned it down. But he is interviewing with the Broncos and the Panthers.
If you were a player, a coach, a DC, OC, which club would or which position would attract you the most?
Out of all of the open ones,
Yeah, out of all the open ones.
probably Indianapolis.
Why Indy?
Well, same reason for a quarterback. Young team, stud
Yep.
running back, stud wide receiver. You can build what you want. You need a QB so you can get your guy in.
See, for me, it would be Houston. 2 picks in the first round, 2 picks next year in the first round. You've got a host of seconds in the next 2 or 3 years. If you're given time, you can build that franchise. The likelihood is you can get CJ Stroud, you can get Bryce Young, you're going to get Will Levis, one of those top 3 quarterbacks in this draft. You can instantly. You don't need to even trade up. You don't need to try and get that number 1 spot. If someone else gets it, you can look and go, well, if, say, Bryce Young goes, I'm happily take CJ Stroud, or I'll happily take Will Levis, or happily take Hendon Hooker, or any of the other top quarterbacks that are out there.
It's just, you say that, but Colts have a team and are lacking a quarterback. Their 4th pick, assuming nobody trades with the Bears, they're not going to take a quarterback. Texans take Bryce Young. Cardinals won't take a quarterback. You've then got the 2nd pick of the litter, which still isn't that bad.
There's not only that.
3 or 4 top quality quarterbacks.
There's also another way around this as well. Why if Texans don't take a quarterback? Texans are going, right, we've got Davis Mills. We've got a serviceable quarterback here. We can build around them. And next year, we can go for Caleb Williams, or the year after that, we can go after someone else who could be Arch Manning or one of the other guys that are there. You know, these other quarterbacks that could be there or thereabouts. There is...
The only way that happens is if somebody trades with the Bears, and take a quarterback, or by some strange reason, Will Anderson Jr. is still on the board at 2.
We are now joined by our resident teacher.
Back
Good
from
evening.
the dead. How are we all?
We are very good, mate. We are very good. So I've just asked the question. You are a coach in the NFL, OC, DC, linebacker coach. Which of the positions would you take that are available?
If I was looking right now, I'd potentially.
Me and Ollie have a bit of a difference of opinions.
So what position do I think? You know what? I'd wait for the potential DC position in San Francisco.
So we've got Ollie becoming a coach of the Texans.
Head coach of the Texans, yep.
I'm becoming head coach of the Colts. And you're waiting for the San Francisco defensive coordinator position.
Yeah, do you know why? Because, I mean, that defense is already stacked. And I've already got the supply. It's not like I'm rebuilding from nothing. Even with my draft picks, it's not an instant fix. I'm walking into a situation where all I'm doing is tweaking maybe an itty-bitty change. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope DeMarco Ryans does not leave San Francisco. I hope we give him for like another couple of seasons. But if I'm being really honest here, I'm probably looking around maybe the Texans because they have quite a lot of capital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ollie just said, what if the Texans don't take a quarterback with their 2nd pick?
I mean, there is going to be a lot of quarterbacks between now and the draft, like NFL quarterbacks, that are going to be free rate. Like, I mean, it came out. I don't know if you've heard it already. Derek Carr.
Yeah,
it's going to be released. But I mean, we knew that was going to happen anyway. So Carr's going to be available. Actually, you know what? Maybe even the Colts.
Yeah,
The
I
Colts
said
position would be interesting.
I said the Colts.
I mean, so we mentioned before on the pod, you got Derek Carr, you've got, I mean, we probably can guess that Brady's going to end up in Vegas. We'll see. Garoppolo's going to be open. I think Minshew, you're not his biggest fan, but I think Minshew's going to gain some form of interest.
What is it with you guys and Minshew? Seriously.
Because we shouldn't let the rustiness of Philadelphia sitting behind Jalen Hurts affect how good he is as a quarterback. I mean, if Baker Mayfield finished the season as a starter with the defending Super Bowl champions at that point, who's to say that bloody Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl? So who's to say that Trent Dilfer...
Ladies and gentlemen, he's been on the show 1 minute and he's slagged off Trent Dilfer.
Who's to say that Minshew Mania, brother, isn't going to be running wild? So, I mean...
Because Minshew played 2 games this season and flamed out in both.
Oh, sorry. He lost to... Who did he lose to? They lost to the Cowboys.
And they lost to the Saints.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, all right, fair enough. But hey, it takes more than one player to lose a game.
Yeah, but it was the offense that lost the game against the Saints.
Okay. All right, fine.
Interesting thing is, none of us said the Cardinals.
No.
The Cardinals were a mess.
Look, I mean, it won't get as much media attention as, say, it probably should. But they spent a lot of money on a lot of mid players, and then a lot of players that are over there, like AJ Green, TJ Watts. I mean, they've done the exact same thing as what LA have done, and they've crashed out more or less the same way, but without a Super Bowl.
The Cardinals have pick 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing I'd be doing, calling up the Texans. You want Kyler Murray? Give us 2 and 12.
Why would that? Yeah, but if they get rid of if they get Kyler Murray, that's a massive hit. Texans, I don't think have that much capital to afford someone like Kyler Murray, when they could still got Davis Mills, who's on his rookie contract for another year,
or maybe even
2 years.
Call up somebody that has a lot of capital and say, I want your first round this year. I want your first round next year. I want your second round next year. Kyler Murray.
All right, Bo. Sonny Weaver.
And I want your third round next year just because I feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be phoning up the Bears. And I wouldn't be phoning up Cardinals. I would possibly phone the Texans, because I think that's an interesting pick for either 2 or 12. Because there is a high likelihood that the Bears are not going to take quarterback. Texans could possibly even go for the edge rusher that's there, or wide receivers. 3 is Cardinals, 4 is Colts, 5 are Seahawks. There is a Lions at 6.
Just go with me on this.
Quarterback might not even go until the 7th, 8th, 9th pick.
Just go with me on this. So, say Bears and Texans don't take a quarterback. Cardinals won't. Colts might, but also might not. Seahawks, I think, are going to roll with Geno. Lions won't. Raiders are going to get Brady. Falcons will. Falcons seem... Will they stay with Ridder? I'm just thinking the Texans could take, say, Will Anderson Jr. and hope one of these quarterbacks falls to number 12.
I think they will, because there is definitely 3 really good quarterbacks out there. As you said, I mean, we could have a case of where they have an issue with, like a Bo Callahan type thing, where the number 1 prospect just falls down and everyone's going, why is he not taking it? And they literally are petrified. Why are they taking this blow? Why have they not? What have they found about this guy?
Well,
and it falls them.
They need to check his 21st birthday party guest list, don't they?
You know, there is a lot of things going on there. I mean, we have fallen off Black Monday a bit, and we've gone on like hypothetically who we take in the draft, but it's interesting. It's interesting. There's Panthers have got a lot of requested a lot of people.
Me and you were talking before the show about Hendon Hooker, weren't we?
Yep. ACL injury though, that's his issue.
His ACL injury will have taken a hit at his draft stock, but I reckon it could be not Kyle Hamilton. I can't remember his name. Nakobe Dean sort of bargain situation.
Oh, David
Ajabo.
Ajabo, yeah, ended up at Ravens, yeah. But it was meant to be a top 10 pick and ended up going 50 something. Yeah, mad. Absolutely crazy, that one.
Because that guy, Hendon Hooker, reminded me of Malik Willis, just better.
Ooh.
That's not hard.
Mm.
He looked. There is a lot of people interviewing or being requested for interviews in Carolina. So you've got Jim Caldwell's.
Okay.
Ken Dorsey, which is the Bills OC.
A lot of this is
Ben Johnson, Lions OC. Mike Kafka, which is the Giants OC. Jared Mayo, Patriots linebacker. Keelan Mond, Cowboys OC. Frank Wright. D'Amico Ryans, which is your DC. Shane Strecken, Eagles OC. And obviously the Steve Wilkes, who was in interim there.
Yeah.
I would give it to Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, I think Steve Wilkes has done a good job there, and he can carry on doing a good job. Phil,
he got the best out of Sam Darnold.
I'm glad you're here because I've got a question for you.
Go on.
Would you take LaFleur back in San Francisco?
Say what again? Sorry.
LaFleur.
Would I do what?
Would you take him back in San Francisco?
After being released by the Jets today. Last night, actually.
I think if he's happy to have his passing coordinator job back, I'd give it to him, but not give him anything more than that.
Sorry, let me just finish my shortbread. what I do think, and I was massively critical at the beginning of the season, and I still feel relatively similar even now. As great as Kyle Shanahan can be with coming up play scheme sometimes, I do feel on the offense, it's very one voice. It's very singular voice, and it does have to be. But I think LaFleur, if he came into the offensive structure, even if he was offensive coordinator or he worked with Shanahan, just to give him a different pair of eyes onto the same schemes of offensive plays. Again, he says, knowing that we've done really, really well since Brock Purdy or since Trey Lance went down, essentially. So yes, but I don't want it at the detriment of anybody else, because I mean we've been fairly good in terms of promoting from within, Ollie.
Yeah.
So
but remember, LaFleur was a Niner.
Oh yeah, I'm not disputing that. I mean, that's the equivalent of saying, well, Sean McVay's dad and granddad work for the organization. Can we get him working under Kyle? Because Kyle's dad also won a Super Bowl for the 49ers. So I don't know.
I think Shanahan will see LaFleur as working from within because he did work for the Niners, in my opinion.
Why did he goes and joins his brother?
Then he goes and joins his brother. I mean, his brother wanted to interview him for offensive coordinator, and Shanahan wouldn't let him go.
No.
I thought if you requested, you have to do it. You have to take it.
No, if you requested, the team can block it, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Crying out, why don't they block Mayo? I was always under the impression if you requested, you have to go.
Well, from what I understand, he was requested to interview for the OC for the Green Bay when Matt LaFleur took over, and Shanahan blocked it.
Interesting. Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, has been requested for a head coaching role at Indianapolis. Why would you want the Lions DC, who at the start of the season was hemorrhaging points? They would score 40 and still lose by 5 points.
Because he sorted it out.
Took his time.
Yeah, but Indianapolis's defense needs sorting out, even if it does take time.
I don't know. I wouldn't look at it yet. If it was next season and they were the top 10 defense, which they possibly could be, then yeah, I would be going, let's go and get that Lions DC. They've got that something sorted there. But at the moment, not yet. And if I was the Lions, I'd be blocking their DC and OC and going, look, we've got something here. Stay with Dan. Let's see what we can build. Let's take this team to the postseason next year and then see what happens. But at the moment, I wouldn't leave Detroit to go to Indianapolis, Texans, Arizona, or any of the HG jobs going.
I mean, Carolina do have a HG job going too.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't go to any of those from Detroit. I would stay there as an OC or a DC in Detroit because I think that is the better situation.
Shall we move on to some other news?
Go on.
I've just seen they've decided where the AFC Championship game will be played if it's KC versus Buffalo.
In Atlanta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
At least the stadium will get the host the championship game. You know, it's going to be a few years to Atlanta get into the NFC Championship.
I think it's good there because I mean, both people from Buffalo and Kansas City can get there quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly central to them.
It's sort of equidistant to the both. It's a very nice stadium.
It's a beautiful stadium.
It's got a roof if the roof needs to be closed.
Yep.
So I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, I don't dispute that.
I would have gone to somewhere that's cold and wet because they're both cold teams in that time of year. I would have gone somewhere like Seattle, Cleveland, somewhere like that. Gillette Stadium, yeah, somewhere that both teams are used to. Yeah, no, that's the extreme cold.
I was in Minnesota, but Minnesota are still in the playoffs.
Where did you say, sorry, Phil?
Lambeau.
Oh, Lambeau Field.
Or Soldier Field.
Somewhere that's like there. It's like, right, it's cold. They're used to playing these cold conditions. They're used to playing these conditions. Let's put them there. Because they're going into Georgia, which is warm. And they're playing in a dome. I can see why they're doing it, because they're going to want literally a shootout without the element playing it up.
Yeah.
But surely it's playoff football. You've got to have some kind of home advantage. I know, yes, it wouldn't be a home advantage. It would be. But you've got to have some kind of advantage there somewhere. Right. And we know the Bills Mafia travel well, no matter what.
Yes. They're good eggs.
They are, unfortunately. Let's have a quick look over the draft before we look at players of the week.
We've pretty much been talking about it. Oh, Phil.
We have pretty much talked about it. Let's talk about it anyway. As it stands,
give us yours.
Yep. So as it stands at the moment, the first 18 are cemented in. Bears at 1, Texans 2, Cardinals 3, Colts at 4, Seahawks 5 via the Browns, their trade with the Browns. Lions at 6 via the trade with the Rams. That's quite embarrassing for LA. Raiders go at 7. Now that's an interesting one. If you don't get Brady, that could be a quarterback situation there. Atlanta at 8.
That will definitely be a quarterback situation.
What, Atlanta?
I don't think they're sold on Ridder. I know you're sold on Ridder, but I don't think they are.
Well, the potentially could go for Minshew, so I mean, the options there.
Yeah, well, if they go for Minshew, then they definitely do quarterback.
All right, so then we'll get to 10, where the Eagles have 10th one from the Saints. But in terms of the quarterback situation going into the offseason, the Chicago Bears will not need a quarterback. I mean, that's why. I mean, we can talk about Lovey purposely screwing over the Texans before he left, but at the same time, the Bears don't need a quarterback.
No.
Texans do. So we could potentially think offseason they're probably going to draft, and then they're going to use all that capital in terms of money that they can use in the free agency. Arizona Cardinals won't need a quarterback. The Colts will need a quarterback, but they'll probably go for Derek Carr. Let's be honest. I could see it. It'll be Carr or Garoppolo in Indianapolis. The Seahawks. I think they could draft a quarterback and then bench him for a year.
That could be a shout.
Detroit. They love Jared Goff. Raiders, I think they're going to get Brady, or if not, they get Brady, they'll get a Garoppolo. So basically, what they don't get, Jimmy will be second option for anybody looking for a quarterback. The Panthers, I think Darnold's got one more year.
Yep.
And then I
On his
think the
rookie
Eagles. Yeah, and then the Eagles are set with where they are. So the top 10, you've got 3 or 4 teams that are looking to maybe draft to get a franchise quarterback drafted into their team, or look to in the free agency market. I think the Colts will look free agency. I think the Raiders will look for.
The Colts have proved a few times that they don't like drafting, because they could have drafted and they went for what's his face.
The last quarterback they drafted in 2012 was Andrew Luck.
Yeah. They could have drafted and they went for Carson Wentz. They could have drafted, they went for Matt Ryan. They could have drafted even before that, they went for Rivers.
They're Philip Rivers.
So they proved that they don't really like drafting quarterbacks.
But they still keep picking up. They keep picking up, over the hill, not really worth the contract that they're being paid quarterbacks. And I think Derek Carr is... he's over the hill, but he's younger than the previous quarterbacks that they've had. I could generally see Carr in Indianapolis next year.
We are forgetting one team that will need a quarterback.
The New England Patriots.
Second word's off. No.
New York Jets.
He has 6, 7 rings.
Tampa.
Yeah. Tom Brady is leaving Tampa at the end of the season.
Yeah.
They will be after a quarterback. They are going to be picking late teens, early 20s.
You said earlier, Carr. I agree with you.
I think they will take Carr. I think that's their safe option. As you said earlier, they've got weapons in Tampa, and that's going to be a attractive place to go.
This is actually a question for both of you. Have you heard anything about Kyle Trask since he got drafted?
No.
Is he even still on the Bucs roster?
He is on the Bucs roster, yeah. I've seen him a couple of times. He's their number 3, isn't he?
Because Blaine Gabbert started last week when.
Blaine Gabbett's their number. Blaine Gabbett's there too.
So is Trask just there taking money?
Are Miami going to roll with Tua as well?
Why would they not? 3
concussions, very injury prone.
Yeah, they might have to monitor that in the off season, but
Well, if they can keep Teddy, I think they will, because Teddy's a good backup.
Yeah, he is a serviceable quarterback that does a job for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is interesting. Right, let's roll on to Player of the Week. I was really wasn't. I actually typed it out and then I got no, because I kept telling you to after doing that. I was gonna go for DMAC,
But you took somebody else that's retiring instead.
I took someone else retiring instead. DMAC, forced fumble, interception, fumble recovery. Not a bad way to sign off your career. Shame it wasn't to win it into the playoffs, but it was a great last game. Matty Slater also played his last game for us, but Matty Slater had a couple of tackles. It was a typical Matty Slater, special teamer. Considering he is classed as a wide receiver and he's only taken 1 catch in his entire career. It's something. But I went for first a ballot Hall of Famer. So 3 times DOP Defensive Player of the Year. Bosa expires to be him. I've gone for JJ.
Did you say Bosa expires to be him?
No, expires.
Aspires.
I did think you said expires, and I'm going, what?
Aspires. Yeah, Bosa expired. Bosa aspires to be him. They're both injury prone, aren't they, to be fair? Bosa's had his injuries. But yeah, 5 tackles, 1 pass deflected, 2 QB hits, 2 sacks. It's not a bad way to sign out and have a
he
standing
had-
ovation for the few thousand that was left.
JJ Watt deserved a standing ovation. He got a standing ovation from the faithful, as he deserved.
Yeah, I mean, we appreciate good defensive ends when we see them. So
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, he will sign. He's blatantly going to go to Houston, sign a one-day contract with Houston to end as a Texan.
Is he?
Oh, he's going to. He's a Texan through and through. The amount of stuff he did for that city, he will sign it. He will sign a last day one-day
I don't
contract.
think he will. I think that's what I think he's retired. Well, retired.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I always got the impression he left Houston in unfavorable circumstances, because I think he wanted to stay, but they just cut him off. That was my impression at the time.
No, I thought he went chasing a ring, and then chose to go to.
And then he went, and then he went to Arizona, which makes no sense. He would have been better off going to Tampa. I don't know. Yes, great player. Yeah, great player. I love JJ. Did any of you happen to watch the video that the Cardinals put together?
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's like they had Manning and Brady and Rodgers and various other people in his family, but around the NFL, just saying how much he's meant to the sport and how much they're going to miss him. I thought I was watching it going. I was like in my break imperative, and I just went through social media. I just came across it because the 49ers that also retweeted it. So I had a look and I go, oh my god, that's amazing.
It was brilliant, and it was a classy thing to do.
Yeah.
Shame their quarterback's too busy sat playing Call of Duty.
Just on his phone, like literally just like doing Candy Crush because he's just obsessed with gaming.
Shane not here. He picked Davis Mills.
Sorry, I don't know why that's funny. Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing.
3 touchdowns. Including a mini Hail Mary.
Yeah, but 2 interceptions.
2 interceptions, but yeah, that's Davis Mills reminds me of Matt Stafford. A poor man's version of Matt Stafford. We'll give you picks, but we'll throw the. He is a bit of a gunslinger, and he will roll it. And he's had a good game. He got them the win. He got them the number 2 pick as requested by his head coach. Happy days.
Yeah. Shall I go on to mine?
Yeah,
or should we let Phil choose his?
No.
I mean, I've already defaulted Phil's to his.
Why? Why? I've got my own.
Well,
you weren't here at the time.
Yeah.
No, I've got my own. No. I'm going to die. I'm going to die on this hill because I've actually.
Yeah,
I'm going to make a point of mine.
If you're not going to tell us it, we can't type it out.
Sorry. Have I not been busy all and today?
Parents' evening. Yeah, we know. Go on then, Phil.
All right, so I'm picking Josh Allen. Wait for it. The linebacker Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I was going to pick Bosa, but because of some weird, messed up rule that was introduced towards the end of the season, I can't pick a 49ers player anymore.
But Bosa didn't have that good a game last game.
Just. So I've gone with Josh Allen. In a really, really exciting game, and just especially how he.
And that's not that one. Or is it me?
No, it's not you.
2 quarterback hits and returned a fumble recovery for 37 yards in a game-deciding touchdown. And it was ultimately the reason for why the Jacksonville Jaguars are in the playoffs, thus confirming my prophecy from way back in September.
Do you want to start that over again? Because you kind of stopped and then went on back with 37 yards with touchdown run.
Yeah, you.
Fine. Josh Allen made 6 tackles, recorded 1 tackle for a loss, registered 2 quarterback hits, 1 fumble, and returned that for a 37-yard touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which ultimately meant that they are in the playoffs and thus confirming my prophecy.
I will always love the day where he picked off Josh Allen, he sacked Josh Allen, and he forced fumbled Josh Allen.
I remember that game.
I will always remember that day.
Josh Allen just sacked Josh Allen.
I think I even picked him Player of the Week that week as well, just because I thought it was funny.
That's amazing.
That's it. I mean, Ollie defaulted you Jerry Jeudy, who did have a good game of 5 receptions for 154 yards. I have said on the Patriots group chats that I'm in that I would take Jerry Jeudy in a heartbeat in New England.
Yeah, but you'd need to trade for him. So who would you trade?
I'll happily give them a first. Have a first. He's 3 years in the NFL. He's proven. Give him a good offensive scheme, and he'll. Okay, obviously not under Matt Patricia, but give him a Josh McDaniels type offensive scheme. He will fit.
Okay, shall I go
And
on
he's
to
proven.
mine?
And he's a WR1 that we don't have.
Shall I move on to mine?
Yes.
Of course, I was going to pick the guy that meant we didn't have to play the Packers. Jamal Williams.
You changed as well because you went DeAndre Swift.
I did go DeAndre Swift, but then I realized he didn't score a touchdown because I thought I thought Swift had scored 2 touchdowns. I got them confused.
No, Jamal Williams has now broken DeAndre Sanders' Lions touchdown record.
Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
16 carries for 72 yards. Isn't that impressive? But throw 2 touchdowns in there, and it's a great performance.
Oh, yeah.
We'll always remember Jamal Williams for his speech at the start of the season on Hard Knocks.
Wow.
And then you see it like after 7 weeks and they're 6-1, and you go, yeah, they're going to have another season like that. And then they've flicked the switch, turned it around.
After that speech, I think you texted me saying, wow, that record hurt him. And just to top it off, it was against his old team too.
It was, wasn't it? Who's unrestricted, Kelly? Is it Jamal? I think, yeah, I'm sure I might have seen Jamal Williams. I know he said they're not sure he is. I didn't realize he's an unrestricted free agency.
Surely they've got to try and re-sign him if he is.
Yeah, it'd be a Josh Jacobs type thing, isn't it? I mean, they'll re-sign him. Yeah, they'll re-sign him. They've got to. He's superb, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We've got this week in football.
Oh, I know what's coming up on this.
All right, so I'm not going to do the voice. I'm not going to do the voice because I text you guys during the morning of actually no, it was Tuesday night, and not bagging on about, but being a heavier, I have to do multiple assemblies every half term. And this week was a celebration assembly because being head of year 9, you need to give them a little bit of motivation. And I did name drop the pod because I did say about things that I enjoy. And I said that I'm part of the podcast, the Third and Long podcast. You can find us on all of your streaming platforms, including Spotify. So I did a bit of plugging in front of all of my 13, 14-year-old year group, all 200 of them. And I talked about defining moments and how one moment can actually shift the balance of future. So this week in football history, and it passed me by until it actually was the day of, Ollie probably knew this as well, that we've just passed the 41 anniversary of the catch. On the 10th of January 1982, in the NFC Championship game, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, played against the plucky underdogs, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, for key context, the 49ers at that point in history never had a winning season. Ever. They hadn't. And if you watch America's game from that 81 season with Ronnie Lott, Dwight Clark, and not Keenan Turner, I can't remember who, it might have been Randy Cross off the top of my head. And Dallas Cowboys, I mean, we've taken the mick out of them now, but at that point in the 70s, early 80s, they were like the Man United, Man City. This is pre-salary cap. They were buying all the best players. They were arrogant. They were just horrible human beings, and I'll die on that hill of how much I hate Dallas. And the 49ers that season had a really, really good season. Plucky underdog Joe Montana, Dwight Clark, rookie Ronnie Lott. I mean, it was just all these different things. And we talk about the final play, not the final play, but the final offensive play of the 49ers with 50 seconds left on the clock. Joe Montana snaps the ball, runs back, does a pump fake. Too Tall Jones jumps, and when he lands down, Montana throws the perfect ball 8 feet in the air. Dwight Clark jumped the highest he ever did in his career and made the catch. Now, you might scoff older Ollie about like the relevance of this small moment, because he didn't win the Super Bowl, but that moment defined what the 49ers ultimately became. We went on to win the Super Bowl that year where we beat the Chargers, then we won another one against Dan Marino's Dolphins, and then we won the 2 back-to-back, and we won in the 94. So that one moment molded a franchise's history. Because I don't think we've had the catch.
That moment created Joe Montana. That moment created Jerry Rice. That moment there.
Jerry Rice wasn't drafted then.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
I know. But that moment created Joe Montana. And Joe Montana created Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. And you got Ronnie Lott, Keena Turner, all these players that have come from that catch. Bill Walsh, and then Bill Walsh came George Seifert, and then came George Seifert. You get Mike Holmgren, who won Super Bowl with the 49ers, but he also won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. Shanahan, who won a Super Bowl with the 49ers, then went on to win 2 with the Broncos. Then his son, Kyle Shanahan, and then Sean McVay. And it all comes from the 1981 season with the catch.
I always remember on one of the Maddens.
Yes, you could recreate it.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Okay.
They had a little intro for each team.
Yeah. Madden 25.
And it was like in San Francisco, gold is more than a color.
It's a standard.
It's a standard. It's
a way of life.
And when they was talking about Joe Montana and Bill Walsh, they showed the catch.
Yeah. It's Joe Montana and the catch. It's Jerry Rice running up that hill, and it's Steve Young getting the monkey off his back. I remember that so well. I don't know for our non-49ers.
I always try to find it on YouTube, and it's not on, and it really annoys me.
You can watch it on one of the intros of one of the 49er games that there's like a playthrough, because I remember finding it the once. So that's my week in history as a 49er fan, and the relevance was in assembly. I talked about how one moment can define not just you, but it can help influence other people around you, and then set the standard for the rest of your life, because that's essentially what happened with that organization. It wasn't just that catch from Joe Montana to Dwight Clark. It was everything that came after it, and that expectation of the 49ers, possibly similar to like the Patriots as well, because the Patriots were good teams, but it wasn't until that 2001 season where you exploded. And we see this quite a lot sometimes, like the Kansas City Chiefs before Reed and Mahomes. They hadn't been relevant since the 60s. So it is that kind of like swings around about that one moment that one player can, influence an entire franchise. So that is my this week in football history. I apologize. I had parents' evening, so I haven't done much more than that. But I just thought I brought a little bit of school into our learning this evening.
I know Shana's listening, so I've got a bit of in this week of football that involves our two teams. So this year, 9 years ago, so in 2024 season, 2025, Patriots hosted...
Do you mean 2015?
2015, yeah. So the Patriots hosted the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional matchup. And they ended up winning. The Patriots ended up winning that game for 31-25, with including a pass from Julian Edelman to playoff Danny Amendola.
Well, back when we had wide receivers.
Back when we had wide receivers, you could actually catch the ball and run with the ball, yeah. That was a brilliant game. I remember my mate who texted me, he's also a Ravens fan, like not seeing a lateral pass like that before, when the pass slightly back, and he goes, "That can't be real. That's got not be the rule. Surely that's not the rules. You can't be allowed to." That, yeah, you can. The first pass gone backwards. Remember that game? It was a brilliant, brilliant game. Sorry, Shane, I had to bring that one up. 10th of January, 2015. Brilliant game.
Did you go to win the Super Bowl that year?
We did. We went on to win the Super Bowl that year. Sorry, Shane, had to bring that game up.
Who did you beat?
That I can't remember.
Was that the first time? Was that the first time you beat the Eagles?
No, it wasn't the Eagles. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. We all typing in.
Yeah, I'm having a look.
Tom Brady was MVP.
Of course.
Has he not been MVP in any of the Super Bowl wins for you guys?
Yeah, Edelman got one.
Yeah, Edwin
Oh,
got one. It was at Levi's. It was Super Bowl 50.
Was it 50? That was that against the Rams?
No.
Panthers.
No. Was it the
Panthers,
Panthers? Oh,
yeah.
was it when Cam
No, it's
completely
Panthers
collapsed?
Broncos. It was Panthers Broncos because it was Manning's last ride.
That's right.
So you didn't go and win the Super Bowl then?
No, he didn't win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I just
I
like to say,
remember it
me and my friend both liked NFL and that season, and I'd been saying, my friend was like, the Panthers are going to go 16-0. I'm like, no, they're not. And I've been saying Cam Newton is going to blow it in the Super Bowl for about this week 7. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I remember it now. It was the year before. It was the year after we went back to Super Bowl.
Yeah, so you beat the Rams, the Panthers, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Falcons, and the Rams was the last one. Oh my God, it's been 5 years since you won a Super Bowl, mate. Oof.
When was the last time you won a Super Bowl?
1994, but we don't talk about that.
Just putting it out there.
Putting
it out there.
I mean, we've been to the Super Bowl more recently than they've been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but we still. Never mind. Yes, yeah. That's very true. That's very true.
Shano's specials will be out on Twitter. So he will put that up on Twitter later on today. Probably when he's finished work, or he might actually be doing it when he's at work. Never know. He's watching us.
Hi, Shane.
Hey, Shane. So let's roll on to predictions week.
I'm with
I feel a bit embarrassed because TCU got absolutely spanked.
I'm with two non-believers here. Well, no, Phil, you said Georgia, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, let's just show the non-believer then.
There we go.
Don't be an arse.
All right, so I mean, bear in mind because that still goes towards our predictions. I mean, it's only like a point in it, so just to let you know.
Very much so.
Oh wait, am I equal with you? Oh my God, I'm literally. I thought I was behind by one. I'm like, breakfast and 45. Oh my God, it's
45 each now, boy.
Yeah, because you actually believed in the Bulldogs and Stetson Bennett.
I didn't believe in the Lions though, and that cost me dear.
Yeah, nor me, mate. So don't worry about that one. I wasn't expecting TCU to literally roll over and play dead from like the second drive onwards.
I don't think anybody did.
After they scored the touchdown.
So yeah, but have you seen Bulldogs drive, Calf? It's touchdown, 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 punt, half time, touchdown, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, end the game. That's their drives.
Just while we're on this topic.
Yep.
Senior Bowl's coming up.
Yep. Always good.
Max Duggan, the TCU quarterback's playing. None of the other big quarterbacks are.
Isn't Stenson playing? Bulldogs quarterback. Isn't it? I thought he was.
Not playing.
He is not being talked about.
Because he's not that good.
Take your team to two playoffs, 2 win 2 championships. Teams are going to go. He could be a second or third rounder, second day pick. I'm saying that.
Yeah, I don't think he's a first rounder, but I think he will get picked.
Yeah, because he's got that winning mentality.
Yeah, but he's had players around him, in my opinion.
So this week's games are all of them, all 6.
Okay.
I've written down them in order, so we're going to go for games each. So let's go with. Well, we know who you two are going to go for against the Hawks, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not as confident as I would be if we say, our whipping boys in Green Bay like we do every year. I would have fancied our chances outright against Detroit regardless.
I'm happy to play in the Hawks in the Green Bay.
Are you?
Yeah.
I mean, also, it's supposed to be monsoon weather.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's one difference between now and... There's one very key difference between now and Chicago. And that's somebody in the backfield that wears 23.
Oh, I was going to say Brock Purdy because he wears 30. Anyway, yes, CMC. But, I mean, I fancy our chances. Seattle barely got into the playoffs. I mean, they beat a piss-poor, pardon my language, Rams side.
And KW3's questionable.
Yes, so I do think we can beat them, and I think we progress to the next round. I mean, I'm not being arrogant. It's not going to be easy. because it never is with Seattle, because for some reason, like we have with the Rams, they have had our number more often than not. So, but I do fancy the 49ers.
I'm going to add to your gloatiness and gloutiness, but is Christian McCaffrey the greatest in-season acquisition?
Yes. I would say in 49er history, yes.
In 49er history, yes.
If we go on to win the Super Bowl, that's a different question. But I think in terms of, and did we acquire him before Jimmy went down? We did, didn't we? Sorry, yeah, we did. So, I mean, that was a decision made when Lance went down. He became available. He's a 49er. He knows Kyle. I mean, he's in that institute as well. His dad played for the 49ers. So, I mean, I think when you are a fan of a team and you play for that team, you have an extra step in you. So I'm not saying that he didn't give his all in Carolina.
He didn't just know Kyle. He knew John too. Both Stanford.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's...
Fun fact, when I went to the Stanford game, they had John Lynch on the pitch, just by the way.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, I went to Stanford Notre Dame last season.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Chargers against Jacksonville.
Duval.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, I've gone for Niners as well.
Oh, thank you. You did mention that.
I'm gonna throw a cat's among the pigeons on this one. I'm gonna go Chargers.
Ooh. Wow. Ooh. See,
is it in Duval as well? It is. Oh, I fancy Jacksonville.
It's in Duval County, yeah.
Yeah,
I've gone for Jackson. They're riding the crest of the wave at the moment. Oh, from a pen across the desk. Mike Williams is probably out. Big miss for them.
I mean, they screwed themselves over, did LA, with playing their stars. They didn't need to. They were guaranteed. And yet they still took out Bosa. I mean, they still rolled out Bosa. Is he still questionable?
He's
definitely
limited. He had limited practice this week.
So it's stupid. It's stupid game management. Stupid. Considering that you've got a lot of players that have missed a lot of games that season, like your big hitters. I fancy Jacksonville. They're hot. They're really hot.
Yeah, they are. They've got a coach who knows what they're doing.
I fancy LA. I really do. I don't know why. Everything points to Jacksonville winning. I just have a gut feeling that LA are going to grind it out.
Can I just bring to everyone's attention as well that Ollie is massively last in the prediction league? So I'll just want to just bring that. I mean, I'm not saying listen to the two that are way ahead in terms of the predictions, but let's just call it as it is.
Yeah,
that's like Steve Bruce giving Pep Guardiola some tactical advice mid-game.
It's like Trent Dilfer giving Tom Brady advice.
Exactly. I wouldn't even go that. I'd be like, that's like who's it they used to play for Jacksonville? Ball number 5.
Blake.
That's like Blake Bortles talking to Patrick Mahomes saying, Blake, Patrick, I think you need to do this instead. I think you need to stay in the pocket more.
You need to look at the other way more often. Yeah.
You got to stop giving it to Kelsey. It's like
Bills Dolphins.
Bills.
No Tua, Bills.
We all going for the big blue.
No Tua, no question. Well, I mean, massive question marks around Teddy in general. I think they limped into the playoffs, and I think they will limp out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean that win wasn't exactly. I've just noticed this thing. He just changed his name to Trent Dilfer. Oh, love it. Giants Vikings.
Vikings.
I'm gonna go Giants.
Yeah, I am as well.
I think we're done with the Vikings. I don't think they're doing anything.
So
I'm happy to be wrong. Happy to be wrong, Trent. I'm happy to be wrong, but I'm going to go with my boys. I'm going to go with the G-men.
So you're going with the big blue then?
Yeah,
I'm going blue.
13-4, but they're minus points difference.
Yeah,
-3 though.
They're 13-4, but they're still minus points difference.
Their offense is too strong.
Yeah, but their defense, literally, I think me and Phil could score against that defense.
Their defense is Darius Smith, but their offense is too strong.
I trust Trent Dilfer to give me the ball against that Minnesota defense.
Haha. We've got another one. let's go with. I know Shane's going to go Ravens. Ravens,
Cincy.
Bengals.
Cincy.
Bengals, man. Yeah.
It's going to be Cincy, isn't it? They're just.
You can't bet against Burrow, especially if Lamar's going to be even questionable at out.
He's out.
Yeah, well, there we
that's
go.
Confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, no offense to Baltimore fans and maximum offense to Shano, but without Lamar, you have nothing to offer.
No.
Lamar can't. Lamar would end up running the whole game anyway. Last but not least, I know there's a certain lady that is listening who thinks Cincy is going to win it, the whole thing.
Well,
so
she is wrong.
I don't know. I think they could run it back.
I think they can get to the Super Bowl and lose, but I don't think they're going to win.
I went for Bills and Eagles Super Bowl, I think, or did I go Bengals Eagles? I know
Apparently Bengals versus Bucks Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a good matchup on Madden. I mean,
it's a great matchup on Madden.
I mean, I've got the Bucks beating the Cowboys.
I've got the Bucks beating the Cowboys.
I've got the Bucks beating the Cowboys.
Brady's go 8-0 against Dallas.
Oh, love that.
I'll be all over that.
You know, it's Dallas. They whimper in the playoffs. Tom Brady knows how to win in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. He could take the Texans into the playoffs and still win a game.
And he's got Mike Evans firing again, which is important.
He has Mike, and he's got a couple of good tight ends in there now. A couple of good young tight ends in there now. And that O-line is starting to get back together. He doesn't look flustered in that O-line at all.
But if things start going badly, Microsoft Surface will get thrown.
Yeah, there'll be a new purchase of some tablets coming out of Tampa. Cool. So the guy who's seriously losing, over my left shoulder, has gone different on a couple of them to the ones who are miles ahead of everyone else. Which is interesting.
Shane, you're going to need to message us your predictions or put them in the chats.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you can also. Or anyone else is watching too. Jack, if you're watching, you should do it too.
I can't wait to win my first third and long bowl championship.
Yeah, get the star by your name.
That's a nice leg.
Thank you. So I just kicked like my webcam. I just go, oh my god, but I'm wearing shorts.
Ollie.
As long as you're wearing shorts, that look very shorts.
They're my Kevin Keegans.
Okay.
Ollie, we need to bring back Guess That Player.
Ooh. Where we describe their career journey.
Yeah.
Kelly's Jags, Bengals, Bills, Bucks, Giants, Niners. So she's following the two prediction leaders.
I don't think Ollie's got over his crushing loss in Guess That Player last year.
Hang on. Didn't I get a player within like half a question?
Yeah, but I still beat you.
I have no idea. I don't know. Had no idea how Tom scored all that. I really don't.
It was like if you guess it within 2 questions, you get like 1 million points or something, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah, it was like his fantasy football league, which seemed to be make it up as you go along.
Yeah, if you had a big play, you'd score 1,700 points per yard or something stupid like that. And considering I had Derrick Henry that year,
me and you ended up in the Super Bowl of that league, despite not knowing how it was scored.
I didn't even draft in that league. That was funny. Right, ladies and gentlemen, end of the show. We have had a bit of a blast. It is Wildcard weekend.
Super Wildcard weekend.
Super Wildcard weekend. I've seen a lot of things about people going, ditch the 7th team. As in, just go back to 4 games over the weekend.
I do sort of agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean, do you not think that might be just the evolution of the NFL? Because I mean, Goodell references it every time he comes over to the UK, and I don't think we'll get a London-based team. I really, really don't. I think it's gone on there for way too long, and it's very sludgy. But I do think at some point there will be an expansion.
There will be.
Within America, not necessarily coming over to the pond in Europe. I think there'll be expansion teams that will set up in the next 10 years.
I reckon there'll be expansion teams. Maybe not in London, but I reckon Canada might get at least one team.
I think
and it wouldn't
Canada get
surprise
one.
me if Mexico get a team.
Yeah.
Mexico, yes. No, Canada, yes.
Hear me out. I get this 17 playoff things, but I do not think that there should be some sort of that. And I was discussing this with Jack yesterday, so I'm going to give him credit for this because he's the one that came up with this. My friend Jack. If there's a team that has a negative record, and there's a team that has a positive record in the same conference that doesn't get in, something should be done.
Yes.
No. Oh, okay.
Because I think you should be incentivized to go and get a record that's over 500 if you can.
Yeah,
I agree, but I also do appreciate when losing teams in a really, really poor conference. Case example, the Buccaneers with the NFC South. The NFC South. Well, they've won it with a losing record because the division is
Washington Commanders 2 years ago.
Yeah, Commanders
NFC least.
ago. Yeah. So, I mean, I see where you're coming from. Yes, the best teams should be rewarded, but at the same time, there's something to be applauded about the fact that Tampa are playing playoff football with a losing record.
Yeah, my point is Tampa could have got a winning record if they wanted.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They were dominating Atlanta when they took their start stops.
Yeah, definitely. Right, definitely the end of the show now. As usual, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining in with the comments. As usual, we will be back on Monday. Maybe a foursome. Could be just a threesome, or it could be just a duo. Hey,
just a one lonely person on himself.
Yeah,
stroking his ego.
Yeah.
At one point, it looked like I was going to be doing a Lonely Hearts podcast last year on Valentine's Day, but luckily Ollie stepped in.
Yeah.
That is. It's Super Bowl when it's Super Bowl week, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll be back on Monday, 8:30. This will be on Spotify. Tomorrow morning, 8:30. We will see you Monday. Stay safe all.
Let's ride.